Hi there, caseworkers and supervisors and agency reps with CarePortal. My name is Kyle Johnson. I'm the regional manager for two different regions in Texas. And we just had a bunch of announcements that we thought it would be better to do a video. I promise that I'm not going to take too much of your time. My goal is to keep this under 10 minutes. We'll see how I do with that. But there's some just really cool things that we wanted to share with you. Before I even do that, I just want to confirm that the process of all this is going to be the same. The goal of CarePortal will always be to help get families and kids that are in crisis that you know about as an agency, to get them connected to the community that is around them and that cares about them and wants to see them succeed. So that's what this whole thing is kind of built for. And you may have noticed that there's a new website for CarePortal. I'm going to go to it actually so you can see it. It's really, really awesome. There's a new place where you would go to actually submit a request. It's just up here. So it's a little easier to get to. But then once you verify in, let me get past this. Once you're in the request form, you'll notice that this is pretty much the same exact thing as it was before. I would point out real quick that the case location information, if you don't already know this needs to be for the family, not for where your CPS office is. That this helps us identify what churches to notify for those requests. And then I'm going to jump in here right at the very bottom and just point out that there's a new box here that gives you a chance to say, you know, I'm asking for 2 twin beds, and you can add each item separately so that the churches, I'll show you where that's shown to the churches. You can, undo it too, but it's going to be different from the case description, which is still extremely important to understand why these items that are added here are going to impact this family. So just keep that in mind, and obviously, submit the request. We'll go through that again. And I want to point out too, this right here, the estimated value and the exclusively financial need boxes right here. Just remember this, because we're going to jump back in here in a little bit so that I can kind of clarify some confusion there. So all that to say, there's just really one new box here. There's a new place to go to submit a request, and it should be it. So a few questions that I think are going to be helpful to just quickly clarify, and this is really where I can show you what the churches see. This is an actual request notification that a church received. And if you think back on the financial questions on that form that we just were at, you'll notice that there's no estimated value on this request that the churches see. The reason for that is because the caseworker identified this as a goods or services request. It was not an exclusive financial need. So what the technology does in those cases is it removes the estimated value from the email notification. The reason for that is because a lot of churches are able to get these items for maybe a little bit less than what the actual value is. And so it's important to not intimidate them, and we want the item value to be fair. So we just kind of let them kind of determine, oh, okay, this is what's being asked, and let's see how much we can get it for, right? Now, the other option is for if that box was checked that it says, yes, this is a strictly financial need, that's when the request value would show up in this email, because churches would need to know exactly how much they're being asked to give. So I just want to touch base on that, because what we've noticed is that a lot of the time the estimated value is very, very low. And I have a suspicion that it's because the caseworkers don't want to intimidate the churches, not knowing that the churches don't even see those estimated values. So, example, for this request, I happen to know that Mrs. Lloyd, the caseworker, submitted a $75 estimated value on this request for 3 to 4 cans of formula. That's about right. But it would have been a really big problem if she just put $15. And that's kind of what's happening in some cases, because ultimately the impact that these churches are able to track through CarePortal, that's helping them tell the story of what they're doing and how they're being used in order to make a bigger impact, that's how we get more churches on board. It's how they get more people from their own church on board, and it's how we get more and more requests met. So just be aware of that. just a reminder of who really is supposed to be bringing these items to the families. And that is the church. It's the responders. In very, very rare circumstances, I understand that there might be something that we need to avoid that contact. But in the vast majority of requests, this needs to be the churches being able to come and make a connection with these families that are in their neighborhoods. That's really why the churches are getting involved in the first place. And so if they get the sense that that's not going to be a consistent opportunity, it's going to be kind of like a bait and switch. And we just don't want to even get to that point. So make sure that the caseworkers understand. They're happy to, they're more than welcome to go along with the churches and meet them at the family's home, but we really want to make that a possibility for that direct connection. And then just some of the reasons why a case or a request should not be approved. And, some of it is pretty obvious, but just whenever there's a really, really vague description, like some of these single sentence descriptions that just says, mom needs a crib, or rent needs to be paid, which for the record, you're not going to get a response on that. You need to explain more detail of what's going on, what's going to happen after they get this item or service or bill paid. Why is it a need? What's going on that made it a need? All of those things are going to be what allows a church to understand, should we step in? Can we step in? Yeah, that's what we're hoping all CarePortal requests include anyway. So the names of the clients should never, ever be included in the request description as well. I would even say initials should be removed, just as a rule of thumb. Just no names ever. These are public descriptions, so we got to watch out for that. We talked about the unrealistic estimated values. Make sure that they're real. Make sure that they're, we're giving the church enough of an idea of what they're doing and how they're making an impact by being honest about those things. Some other times we've seen financial needs. So like a bill is entered as if it's a good or a service, which again, if you kind of imagine what happens with that, that means that the bill or service, there's no number that's being told to the church of what is actually needed. So we just want to make sure that the distinction between a financial need and a need for a good or service. And then we also want to avoid just those massive laundry lists of needs. It just overwhelms the church, and they understand that there's going to be more than what gets them in the door with these families. We all know that they need more. We just need to get those first maybe 1 to 3 things shared so that we can begin helping these families. A few opportunities and announcements real quick. I hope that you can kind of see the potential here, that these responders that are coming in with CarePortal responses, a lot of these people are the ones that don't really go to the foster care informational meetings at their church or at the agencies. This is a really great opportunity to share and educate with these people from the church about what the child welfare world really looks like. And so how cool would it be is if you were to kind of understand that your interaction with a church or a point person that responds to a request for a crib, in 5 years, maybe they're fostering and adopting because of their first interaction with you as a caseworker. If we see that opportunity, there's a lot that could happen. And I just want to make sure that we understand the potential there. Twin beds. We've got some churches that are building beds now in Tarrant County and in Taylor County and the surrounding areas. We're just really, really excited. And so now at this point, I want to just kind of touch on this and invite you to submit more requests for twin beds. There's a lot of them out there ready to go because they've seen the needs from before in previous requests. So let's take advantage of that. We also have a pause request feature that's coming soon. That's basically kind of a pending pickup opportunity for you to just kind of let other churches that are thinking about responding, letting them know that something's in process. There's going to be more information that comes out on that when it's live, so don't worry about understanding everything there, but just wanted to kind of share that exciting news. And that's really it. I want to point you to your faith-based specialist if you have any questions. They are your agency rep for your region. Lean on them as much as you can. We're so excited about what this is doing in our communities and how this is assisting you in connecting the community in a more relational way. That doesn't happen without your willingness to enter requests, and good requests. And so we appreciate you. We honor the work that you do for these families and kids. It is so, so valuable. And I just want to make sure that you know that we appreciate you and everything that you're doing. So thank you. And we're looking forward to the future.